Okay, today's video we're doing something a little different. This is my daughter's 10-gallon bow-front aquarium, and we're going to turn it into a vivarium. Yeah. So anyway, what we've done is we've got the tank. We're going to have to come up with a way to seal the top. We have the light from before, which will work. We picked up some cork board for the back and some PVC, some silicone. We're going to have to order a plant pack, quite a few other things, a humidification system, probably a mister or fogger. So I'll put videos, little pieces of this together as we go, and hopefully this turns out good. Okay, this tube is going to go in the corner of the vivarium. It'll be covered with cork in front so that you can't see it, but I will cut some slots and some holes in the bottom inch, and what this will be for, it'll stick up 11 inches because we're going to get a 1-inch by 12-inch siphon tube, and then you can put a siphon tube down in here and pull the water out of the bottom that is accumulated because of humidity. Because in a vivarium you don't have any standing water, it's all just humidity and tropical plants and insects and critters. So I'm going to do that, and we're putting a false bottom in it, and it's the first time we've ever done this, but hopefully it'll turn out kind of cute. Okay, what we've done is we put these 1.5-inch PVC couplings in. I made a riser pipe. These are 1.5 inches, so I had notches cut in that 1 inch. And then that will be silicone to that corner. And then we took some of this egg crate stuff, plastic, and it was a little tricky since it's going around a corner, but we put this at the proper height and cut them off and zip tied those all the way around. So when you put this in here, that one's in the way. It will go all the way up against that back and all the way up against that corner, like that, and that leaves a gap all the way around the front that we can fill with gravel. And when we fill that with gravel, that will keep it from being able to see this thing. And then we have this, it's actually a weed barrier fabric, and we will put weed barrier fabric on this, wrap this completely, and then the soil will go on top of that. We have this cork board that we're going to be putting on the back, and then we have a log, and we do some stuff. So anyway, that's what we've done so far. Okay, I drilled 4 holes in the bottom of each one of those 1.5 inch couplings, and a little bead of silicone to hold them down. I also cut slots in the bottom of that, silicone that down, and put a bead up here on the side to hold that tube in there. This has been completely covered in fabric and wrapped with a space underneath it, and it goes just like so, and that leaves enough gap for gravel around the front edge so you can't see it, and corkboard on the back. So yeah, moving along. Okay, I'm working on the vivarium today. I have the cork cut. I did it kind of as a contour so it wasn't straight edges, and then when we put the plants in the little wood stuff, we're going to cover those seams so you can't see them, and then eventually get some moss and stuff, and you shouldn't be able to see a whole lot of the cork when we're done. But one thing I did want to do is I cut this so it fit around the light. I need a tight fit on everything because of the food that you give them, those little insects for the frogs that my daughter's going to get. The other thing I needed to do is I will cut another piece of this cork board that goes in front of this all the way to the top. So the next thing I had to do is come up with some kind of a lid. This is the lid that was with the aquarium before. I straightened up this edge and cleaned it up with vinegar. And it cleaned up pretty good. So that will sit like that. And then I have some of this polycarbonate but left over from an aquarium project, and I ran it through a table saw and cut it for a clean edge, and it will sit like that. So it still has the covering on it, so it's not real clear. But I do need to cut out here so that this pops down into this light. This here, we're going to get some mesh in here, and we're not sure how much, but I know we need some ventilation, a little bit of air. So we're going to try to put some real fine mesh in here, and
that will work for covering that. And I'm not sure what we're going to do here. I'm thinking about taking a clear piece of packing tape and run along this seam, because it's clear. You wouldn't even know it was there unless you knew it, and that would allow you to be able to fold that up if you needed to access that, which you will at some time. So that's kind of the plan. I have my straight edge and a marker, utility knife, and so the thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this polycarbonate out to go around this piece here. Once I get that done, I'll take the lids off, and then we'll have to silicone that cork in the back and permanently silicone it in there. So then it's a matter of cutting this piece that goes up through here. We then put the substrate in, the gravel on top, and then start building it. So anyway, that's the project that we're working on, and I'll chime more in later. Okay, this is what the lid looks like. I think it looks pretty good. I did get that cut even around there, and I think it's going to make a nice looking lid. It'll have good light coming through it. I think that'll work out well. So when I get to the point where we're going to start moving forward on this, I'll add some more to that. Well, this is how the vivarium looks now. It's been a couple of months since my daughter got the plant package that she bought. I probably should have looked into it as far as what these different plants are. I really don't know. There's a number of different ones. I kind of like these little shoots down here. And then these ones that crawl up the back. The ones in the back here, I think it turned out really, really well. I like the plants in the front, and the ferns are just really, really neat. So it's working out really well. And this is the humidification system that she bought, and it is the Reptifogger. It works very well. You turn this on. When you turn that on, then you get the fog that comes in, which is pretty cool. Just kind of humidifies everything. She also picked up these gauges back here. One is for temperature and one is for humidity. And as you can see, that fills it up. We did leave a little gap in here, you know, just so that it can breathe. I think that's important. I'll go ahead and shut that off now. So she does not have the poison dart frogs ordered yet, or the culture, you know, for the wingless fruit flies or the wingless flies or whatever they are. So when she gets that, I'll probably have to do a second video on this series, but it's probably been 2 months since this thing has been set up, and for not knowing what we were doing, I think it turned out really well. This is that back corner that we talked about, where you can actually put a siphon tube down here if you would happen to build up some water down here that you need to remove, and that would allow us to do that. But so far that hasn't been a problem. You can actually see the this is actually planted aquarium substrate, and then this is the planting medium that she bought specifically for a vivarium. So I think it turned out really neat. I think it's a nice little setup, and it'll be really interesting when we get the poison dart frogs. I need to get this moved over to her place. She just moved here recently, so we'll get this over to her place, but I'll add a second video when we get the poison dart frogs. So that's the vivarium setup, and I think it turned out pretty cute. So this is Studnickaaquatics out.